Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Allison always starts off by singing, so now I start off by singing. I'm like, la 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 la. Whenever I look at these.
It brings in that energy of like that beautiful gush of like, well, hello there.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. She usually does the Mario theme. She usually goes doot 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 till we start seeing people jump on. It's really funny.
I I love that. For ones that don't know who Allison is Sammy's partner and a beautiful, beautiful soul. Well, are you done yet? Okay. I don't know where it is, but it's fine. I'm not even gonna worry about my laptop because it's just not working for me.
Don't stress about it.
But thank you for coming live and into Unbound. Thank you for, expressing yourself. So I would like, if you could, to introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I am Sami Beikman, and I am a lady about town. I don't know. I I don't usually talk about myself. I'm usually talking to other people about themselves. I am a teacher. I taught in public schools for 9 years, and then I kind of woke my gifts back up from when I was a child. About my last 2 years of teaching, got really deep into astrology again. Picked up the tarot, picked up oracle cards. Now I use astro dice as like my main divination modality. And my basic, what I view my role as in society is to help other people really bring very lofty concepts or spiritual concepts or intangible concepts. My job is to bring those down into the 3D for people. So I understand both worlds. I can fill out a tax report, and I can also understand what some aliens on planet Sirius told you in a meditation. So I try to act as that bridge between the two and allowing those two worlds to really speak the same language to one another. That's really important for me because our company, Pellucidity Life, our bigger mission is to create sanctuaries, global sanctuaries all throughout the world. And so part of creating those safe spaces is also doing all of the stuff that you have to do in society. So that's usually how I'm used is, you have to go into a special education meeting and you need a teacher to sit there and be like, hi, the parents are wanting to utilize mindfulness meditation while also and then the explaining from the teacher's point of view, okay, this is why the teachers and the principals are recommending these various interventions, and explaining to them in more of a spiritual way, or going with people to their doctors and helping explain to the doctor, okay, well, we're going to use herbalism. We're also going to use this pill, but we're going to use it for a little while. We're also going to use, you know what I mean? And just kind of combining the two worlds I see as kind of my specialty. I mean, I do a lot of readings, like astrology readings for people and card readings and stuff like that too. Of course,
Amazing.
that's a lot of fun.
Just
Yeah.
is amazing. If you need to know your natal chart or any questions at all, like hit Sami up. She's
Oh,
got
thank you
a
so
beautiful
much.
way of so like my brain doesn't always like process things, and sometimes like someone has to slow it down for me just a smidge. And he just has this unique way of like, no, Bridget, like your sun is this, it represents this, and that's why you feel this way. And she just puts it together and you're just like light bulbs. So I
Mhm.
definitely recommend booking with her on that one.
Oh, I
Um,
appreciate that.
how did you get started?
How did I get started? Well, for the astrology stuff, that was like one of the few things my mom would let me. My mom grew up in a very, she actually grew up in a religious cult. They were called the non-denominational Nazarenes. And so I got started. She left that. She had a baby at me. She had a baby at 17, and she was excommunicated from the church with my dad. And so she spent a lot of her late teenage years, early 20 years, just like kind of meandering about life, trying to figure out where she belonged. And what she was going to do next, and what she actually believed in herself, and kind of I got to be a part of that journey with her. So she explored concepts like reflexology and herbal tinctures and that kind of thing. And then I got really into astrology. I had heard about it, learned about it, and so she got me a bunch of astrology books and dream interpretation books and all of that. And that's kind of where I got started. She sort of noticed that I had gifts when I was younger. She would notice that I was, um, that I had this connection to spirit that she really noticed was my fear. Like I had a lot of imaginary friends that she did not recognize to be the dearly departed or other entities. But what she did notice is that I had a lot of fear about a lot of stuff and that I would have really bad nightmares and night terrors and stuff. And so she tried for a long time. She took me to a bunch of priests. She took me to a psychologist and no one could really figure it out. And then finally she took me to another woman who was a medium. And this woman kind of helped her with the reflexologist. They both kind of worked together to help me understand what was happening to me. But it was really scary. And so that medium sort of taught me how to block it off. She taught me how to put up my guards and boundaries and like not deal with it because a lot of things were rushing into me as a small child that I really wasn't prepared to deal with. So, yeah. So that's when I kind of blocked everything off until about 6 years ago when everything started to come back online again. I had a dream about 3 months before my husband and I got together, started dating. And it was this little girl. And she goes, "Hi, I'm Dora. This is Della and Dale, the twins. We're coming soon, Mommy, and you need to get it together."
Oh, my heart.
And I was like, "What?" She goes, "We're coming soon, and Daddy's not going to like any of the answers I have for him. But you need to start getting it together." And like so I knew the names Della and Dale because those were my mom's grandma's name. And Dale is my dad's grandfather's name, and it's a common family name, but I did not know the name Dora. I was like, what is Dora? Like, this is so weird. I would never name my child Dora the Explorer. No to that. Well, I went on my first family vacation with James and his grandma introduced herself. "Hi, I'm Dora." And I was like, oh, so that was a fun moment for me when I was like, oh crap, we're getting married and having babies. And that's when it all kind of like started clicking on for me again, right? I was like, oh no, like this is a thing. Unfortunately, this is a thing that I can't deny anymore. Cause you know, I'm a Capricorn, I'm a Pentacab. We are very like logic based. We are very like data driven, you know? So it took a long time for me to really believe what was happening. My little brain needed all the data first. And then it could finally be like, okay, so like maybe this is true. I don't know.
Right. How did your husband take it? Did you tell him?
Yeah, I told him a couple of years into us dating. Now I dabble in palm reading a little bit and I just know a couple of things. So I was playing with that again when he and I were first dating and I was reading his palm and I realized that we had the exact same children lines. So that was another thing for me that I was like, oh no.
Another confirmation.
Yeah. Obviously did not mention that to him because there's nothing worse than a girlfriend who's like, "Hi, we're going to have babies together." Like 2 months into your relationship. Yeah. You don't lead with that.
Right. So, where did you first start like really reading at? Did you start online? Did you start in person?
Yeah. So I started with my friends. Like my friends really supported me through a lot of it. And as I started to get into it, I started reading for them and they were like, "This is super accurate." And so then like every party I would go to, they would be like, "Hey, Sami, can you do that card thing?" You know, or I would offer to read for people. And then eventually I went to Reiki in 2021, I believe. And I met Allison. And we like locked eyes from across the room, as she tells it, and it was love at first sight. And we've been business partners pretty much since that very moment. I overheard her. I had just had a dream. So a couple months prior to going to Reiki, I had this dream. I was in this building and I was looking in front of me and it looked like a pirate ship had crashed into the building and there was a big stage and there was like a library all over the stage. And then I pivoted and there was like a little tea shop. And then I pivoted and there was like a Lego indoor gymnasium thing. And then I pivoted and there was like a crafting room with a bunch of craft supplies and tables. And all of these families were like milling about through this big building. And I looked over in another area and it was just like a big open, almost like auditorium type space. And I was like, where am I? Yeah. And this big guy came up to me and he goes, "Hey, I'm Michael. I need you to build this." And I was like, "What?" because I had like just quit teaching very recently. I was like, I can't build it. I don't know how to do any of this. I'm a teacher.
Was
like,
this your interaction with the big? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just a teacher. I don't know anything about this. And he was like, let me take you to your office, all like stoic and angry. And I was like, what? I have an office? So I'm like following behind this big dude, and he's like flipping through the calendar, and he's showing me like family budgeting nights and karaoke nights and family trivia nights and family yoga nights and all of these different things all over my calendar. And I was like, listen here, Mikey, I don't know anything about any of this stuff. Like, this sounds amazing. I would love to create community spaces like this, but I don't know anything about this. And he was like, there's 5 pillars you need to get going. And then I woke up. Well, I say to my husband, who's Catholic, I'm like, honey, I just had the weirdest dream. And there was this guy named Michael there, and he just would not freaking leave me alone. And he goes, Archangel Michael? And I went, I don't know, what's an archangel? Because in the Protestant religion, we don't really categorize our angels. Like, I had heard of Michael as an angel, obviously, but I didn't, he was like, oh my gosh. So then he had to sit and explain to me like archangels and what they do. And so when I was at Reiki, I was overhearing Allison talk about this business she had called Pellucidity. And there were 5 pillars, and it was going to cover like physical wellness. So that Lego spot and the tea place, and it was going to cover like business and community and had all these little, and I was like, hey, I don't mean to eavesdrop on you, but I've had a dream where I'm doing this with children. Like I've created like a family center. And so we just kind of took it from there and went. So it was wacky, wild fun.
That sounds amazing though. Like all of that, and to have the connection with Archangel Michael for the very first time, I'm sure that was very overwhelming, because it's not like you were like, here's my lights on, I'm ready for this now. It was more like, oh, my light is on, what is that?
Right, exactly. So it was a lot.
Which eventually later on, sorry, my dog Scout. Later on, I would love if you and Allison could touch on the archangels, because I do have some friends that go like talk with the archangels and stuff and work with them, but I don't have a lot. So I would love to know more about that aspect of spirituality.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And then where can we find all of your links, or where can we book you at? Or
I am, if you go to pellucityandlife.com/Sami, all of my stuff is there. You can also find us on Facebook if you go to Say Unistay Global, which is SAIYUNASTE. Allison chooses the most complicated names in the world. Global. Yeah, they're beautiful. They sound beautiful, but they're hard to spell and say. And that's our space where we do like live events and we share our services and all of that. If you're looking for a more intimate thing, go to Say Unistay Soul Tribe. That's a private group. That's more about like the learning, the community growth, all of that stuff. You're not going to be like, it's more for like free readings and questions and that kind of thing, and less like, hey, here's all of our business stuff. So those are 2 really good spots on Facebook if you're a Facebook person. And we have a YouTube channel called Say Unistay. We have a Women of the Wise podcast that's on Spotify, iTunes, or the YouTube. It's only broadcasting into YouTube, I think, right now, which is interesting.
I did. Yes, I saw our Bridget and I's video and I liked it. Really check out their guys' podcast. They have a few episodes up. You're in your 2nd season, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're phenomenal. I really enjoyed listening to some of them and getting to know, because what I like about their podcast is like what she's saying. She is growing. Her and Allison are growing a big community. And the more doors that they open is more like paths for me to find new spiritual friends and, introduce like some of mine. Like, so the podcast is like a great little melting pot to get to know everyone. I feel like it's like a good light of like example of what you're building.
And each woman or team of women or whatever we have on there, they sort of have a specialization. So like, when we had Nancy on, she's narcoleptic and an artist. So she talked a lot about like astral travel, because that's really her big thing. Like narcolepsy is very tied into astral travel. So you'll learn a lot about like when the spirit leaves the body and goes somewhere else, or dreams. Like she has a lot of knowledge about dream stuff. Or, you know, when we spoke to the Bridgets, they had a lot of knowledge on like reparenting. You guys are reparenting yourselves while you're parenting children, while you're parenting your parents. So it's like you guys had a lot of insight on that, like raising small children as a modern woman. When we have like Tabby and Jennifer Wardlow on there, they're going to talk more about the galactic side of things. So variety of different galactic beings or light beings and stuff like that. So they're going to have more of that. So each episode's kind of, each person that comes on is really just like an expert in their area. So I think I've learned so much just hosting the podcast. Like it's really a treat for me because I just get to like sit on there and ask people questions and learn about stuff, which is my jam. So
You're very
yeah.
So find your path. What I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm a teacher at it, but I really wanted to dive deep into that because it's coming up very soon. So just highlight what you would like of it because I'm so excited.
Yeah. So Find Your Path is a 2-day workshop weekend. And if you get a 2-day ticket, it encompasses, I apologize, 8 workshops and then 2 private sessions. So you can have 2 free private sessions with either any of our master teachers. And then if you just go for 1 day, you get 4 classes and 1 free private session. And so the whole reason why, the way it was developed is I was visiting my in-laws and just Allison and I were in this moment of like, what do we want to do with this company? Like, what's our why for the company? What's our why for anything? And we boiled it down to the first thing our company always wants to do is create safe community spaces. And the second thing our company always wants to do is educate and be like actual truth. Because, you know, you can go on TikTok and YouTube, but you're really not vetting those people. Like, it's really hard to know if those people are truthful or if, and a lot of times, I found when people speak in absolutes, when they're like, oh, well, every time you use your clairaudience, this will happen. It's like, well, people are pretty diverse. So that's usually if you were, you know, if you want a little lesson on discernment, that's usually a big, or if someone ever says the phrase, oh, I can heal you of that. No, someone else can't heal you of anything. They can help spark the healing or hold the space for you to do the healing, or they can provide that extra kick of light that you need to get going. You know, just like medication can do that sometimes, right? Medication can sometimes be just the little thing, just a little nudge that gets your body back into a point of like happy stasis. So we came up with Find Your Path because it kind of combines the two things. It's a place where we've vetted all the teachers and we know that they are going to do everything for your highest and greatest good. They're going to provide the best, most accurate information. We work as a crew on that. It's a place for you to connect in with like-minded people, which is really freaking hard to do when you're an adult. Like it was so easy when you're in like grade school and high school and college, and you know, even in your early 20s it's a little easier because you're out there and you're drinking and you're doing stuff, right? So you like meet people. Yep. But not so much when you're a mom or you know what I mean? Like it's just so much harder. And I think a lot of people
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just feel really like they don't know where to turn, like there is nowhere for them or no one understands them. And so that's one of the big major parts of Find Your Path. And then the other part is just, it's really expensive. A lot of these things that we're teaching, if you were to buy a class, it would be, you know, $2,000. I think Tabby said, which is our friend from Virginia, that's at a lot of Find Your Path. She's a member of Pellucidity Life. She said she spent $10,000 her first year in her spiritual awakening, just taking classes.
I believe it.
She was like, fortunately for me, you know, I was in my 50s and I had a thriving business and I could do that. She's like, but if I couldn't, like, I would just be like the rest of everyone, like going onto YouTube and TikTok and finding the best thing, which is not a bad method at all. Like those resources are out there for the reason of not gatekeeping the information, but it's really expensive. Like if you want to take a shamanism class, that's like $2,000 a mentorship, you know. So we really want to give people the chance to sample all of these different modalities, because once they've sampled them, they can actually decide, like, is this the path for me?
Right.
You know, you don't really even know sometimes when you buy these classes or courses or you go into it, if you're even going to like it. And then that's a waste of tons of money. So just from a practical standpoint, you know, $100 or less than $100 to sample 8 different things is, I think, really, really important.
especially when you get the private sessions, that one-on-one time. And that's not even just it. I mean, yeah, we have the classes, but Sami also added some extra little special things too, like at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the end, even if you don't purchase a ticket, if you'd like to come at the end between 6 and 7 every day, we'll be hosting. Sometimes Jared will host a drum circle, but Allison always hosts a healing circle. So Jared might be like, and I want to do a drum circle today. So there will be like 2 circles going at once. You guys can just choose whichever one you want to go to. But that's free. That's free for anyone. You can just come in and do that. I know in Virginia, the last time we did it, some people went to the healing circle at the end and they were like, you know what, actually, I think I'll pay the $77 to come tomorrow and just take some classes. That's okay too. You might not know what you want until it's happening. And so that's really important. And it's scary, right? A lot of these concepts we've been made to believe are really scary to learn. And it's scary to tell other people we care about and all of that stuff. So ease your way into it in the way that feels best for you. That's extremely important. And anyone that tries to force you to do what you're not ready to do, they're not going to be the mentor for you. It's not going to be the path for you. So please reach out. Like if you have questions or you have concerns or you're like, hey, I can't really afford this, then just know there is that free component at the end that you can go jump in and check out too.
Yeah, because any one of us teachers at that healing circle, if you're going to come to us, we're gonna interact back with you. Like we're not just, no, you didn't buy a ticket. I'm not. Did she see me?
Right.
Yeah. Any of the whole reason that they put this together is to help. You know. So I agree. Come see us. Find your path. March 25th and 26th in Fishers. Look at this. I'm remembering. I'm doing it, Sami.
You're doing it. It's in the corner there too, if anyone ever forgets.
Yes.
Video, so.
Yes. And then Sami has been dropping links. So please feel free to explore her links, because her links give out not just where she is, but she also gives other like recommendations or where she can, you know, find someone else to step in to help you or any of that. I don't know if we had something popped up on my phone, but I don't know if it was a question.
Okay. No, I don't see any questions here.
It could have been my other group then. No worries.
I also wanted to mention that our host this time is Sharon Webb's Autism Foundation. They're really passionate about nonverbal speakers, and they're very passionate about getting nonverbal communities connected to a way to communicate. I know that Sharon uses a combination of her own energy work and like kinesthesiology with communication devices, like facilitated communication things. A lot of what they do for the autism community and the nonverbal community is really, really important. And both of her kids in the picture up here, if you can see Noah and Adriana there, Sharon's in the middle, and then there's Noah and Adriana. Both of them are energy workers and healers. They do soul Reiki naturally. They work as a Sophia Dragon pair, which a Sophia Dragon pair is like 2 halves of a whole, basically energetically. And so in soul Reiki, this is like, it's probably more than whatever. We'll just
well, break down what is soul Reiki, because they only know the Reiki that I put in the group, but I haven't stepped yet.
Yeah. So Reiki is, as you know, that helping that with that energy life force to help rejuvenate, replenish the cells, unblock the chakras, provide all kinds of physical and emotional and spiritual benefits. So soul Reiki adds an additional component. It has to be 2 people or more typically. You'll have an anchor and then a coder and healer. So the anchor's job is to sort of root in to the earth, kind of keep, you know, if you've ever heard the phrase as is above, so is below, that's kind of where that concept comes from. So the anchor is holding the below, they're holding the middle realms and the lower realms, and they're bringing in that earth, that natural physical earth Gaia energy into it. And then the coder, the active coder, is bringing in the like galactic, divine, the up here. So when you do the Reiki breath, if you've been trained in Reiki, in America, we pull from earth to the sky, back through and in through our hands. In the UK, they actually start from the divine, they bring it down into their feet, and then they pull it back up through the hands. We're researching why that change happened. Jared has a really cool theory about that, but that I won't go into right now. But that's kind of what you're doing into people, because when you do the soul Reiki, it bypasses the brain. So it gets the brain out of the equation and it talks directly to the subconscious mind instead of the conscious mind and the heart space. And so because you're doing that, your brain is distracted listening to like the gibberish and all the things going on. Your subconscious brain can really talk to your higher self, and it just like deepens the healing a little bit. It's very vulnerable work. It's for those who are really like feeling stuck and ready to move forward. But it's really, really cool. And we've done it with 2 people before. We've done it with 5 people. It's different every time you have a soul Reiki session. It's, you know, it can be like a gentle, relaxing thing to like a, oh my gosh, I just saw all of my insides and now I want to vomit thing. But it's always exactly what the person needs. Yeah, it's always exactly what you're ready for, because you're in control of the session, right? Your desire, your ability, what you want, we set those intentions ahead of time, and then you get to control the session and how you want that energy to move and what you want to go on there. But it does allow your higher self to have a little bit more of a voice in soul Reiki than I would say in regular Reiki, where the ego is still kind of, and the ego is beautiful. It has a beautiful part to play. It keeps us alive. It keeps us healthy. It keeps us safe. But your higher self has like the blueprints of every single piece of you and every single thing you've ever been through. So, it just gets in a little deeper. And so Noah and Adriana, they do that naturally. They're both nonverbal. They use communication devices. I guess Adriana's not really, she's constantly speaking actually. But she's always speaking in soul language. She's never speaking in English. So I guess regular humans would consider her nonverbal. I suppose it's the, I disagree. I think she's very verbal, but they'll be there. They love to work as a pair and heal. And so they'll be doing that during lunch times and on your breaks and stuff. They'll probably be walking around and doing healings and stuff. It's just, Noah's always like, I just want to work. Yeah. You know, he's 25 now. She's 23. So they're both always like, we just want to work. Like any, you know, young 20 something, you know, they're ready to get out there and do their work, do what they're passionate about. So it's really beautiful.
I love that. I had something else and now I lost it. Oh, what is the difference between, because we've heard soul language and we've heard light language. Yeah. But how does soul language come in and help Reiki? And what is the difference between the light and the soul?
Yeah. So light language is something where it comes from outside of you. So let's say, and they should always ask before they do it. And if they don't ask, then have a conversation with me and we'll figure out a way to make that stop happening for you. Because that's my job, is to help guard and protect. But soul Reiki or light language, it's like either an entity or multiple entities will kind of like say, hey, I would like to give a message to this person through you. And then you can either say yes or no, and then you vocalize that. Soul Reiki comes from deep within your soul. So if you believe in past lives, or if you believe in that you have a spirit guide team, or if you believe in a higher self, it will combine all of those things into one language. So it won't necessarily, you know, you can pick out in light language, oh, that's Fae, that's Dragon, that's Arcturian, that's Enochian, that's, you know what I mean? You'll be able to pick up on the different dialects with light language. With soul language, it's such a combination of all the things. Now, a lot of people, when they first get activated in their soul language, they will be speaking mostly one dialect because it's the dialect that they have the best that the conscious brain has the best connection with. The longer you do it, the more dialects will kind of come to you, and you start to do something we like to call, I think Allison calls it tuning, where you'll be like, yes. Like you'll make these sounds like over and over again. And you're like, why do I keep like rolling my R's? Like, what is this? It's a new dialect coming into the body. And it will eventually blend in really nicely with the other dialects that you have in your soul space. So light language from outside, soul language from inside the body. So both are extremely helpful in healing. Neither is better than the other. They're each just a little different.
Yeah. Right. I don't know if I've done light language, but they did activate me for my soul language, and I can feel the difference. She was talking about the different dialects. I speak Dragon, So when we had a healing circle a couple weeks ago, another person got activated, and I could instantly knew that that was like one of my dragons.
Yeah.
Like I just knew, and it was just an amazing feeling. But yeah, 100% right. Like when I speak, I've noticed now my dragon, I also go Italian sometimes, like the different dialects, like
which could be a past life, Bridget, you know, just pulling in that Italian. Yep.
But it's really cool experience. So I highly, highly recommend if anyone wants to branch into something that's, you know, a little bit new, definitely hit Alice and Sami up, because they unlocked me, what, 2 months ago? Something like that. And I've had wonderful spiritual experiences since I've been unlocked. It's been wonderful. So we covered that. We got Find Your Path, got our dates.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you would like for them to know?
I think that's probably good for now. We are always here at Pellucidity in Life. So if you have questions, you can always private message us. Again, my email is, I don't know if I said this earlier. My email is samantha@pellucityinlife.com. If you want to just send me an email, that's a really quick way to get a hold of us. Allison and I are kind of attached to our phones because we're entrepreneurs. So that's like the fastest way, is through messaging or email to ask questions. We are super open to answering your questions. We may not know, like in the case of astral travel, I don't know a whole lot about that, but Nancy Mitchell-Taylor does. So I would pop you her way, and I could help start a dialogue between the two of you and get that going. If you ever need like a pretty, you know, there are some readers, I'll preface this. There are some readers who are really good at keeping it really basic and really light and really beautiful, you know, and you need that. It's like just as important as like relaxing massage as deep tissue massage. They're both important, right? And you need both of them in your life. That's not really what Allison and I do. When you talk with Allison and I, it's pretty intense. So if you can also reach out to me and say, hey, I want a tarot reading, but I don't want it to be what you do. I want it to be, you know, a little lower key. I know Tiffany's really good about gauging like if people are ready for the deep stuff or not. And like Jennifer Wardlow, those types of people, they can go really deep, but they're much like Allison and I, we can't help it. It's like intense or nothing with us. So if you want someone who's able to look at you and know what you're ready for, I can recommend those other avenues of places for you to go. Bridget, Bennet, really, really good at being intuitive about what people need. And if they want to go like crazy deep, she can do that. You know, I've noticed with you, especially you and Bridget together, you're both really good at like either going crazy in it or being like, okay, here's a small little thing, and then here's some homework. You know, you'll be like, here's this small little emotion thing, and then Bridget Butler's like, and here's this homework for you to like implement it. If you're looking for something like that, that would be a great option too. So
thank you.
Bridget and I, we both know a lot of people. So any questions that you have, we can help you find your person if it's not us. That's really, really important. Yeah.
Sami and Allison are in Unbound. They're going to continue to be Unbound. Look out for their post. Feel free to message them. You know, they're here to help in any way that they can. So I created Unbound to bring this community. Everyone wants more teachers. You guys want more master teachers. You want more lessons. You want more spiritual aspect. So that's what I'm going to try to provide in the next, you know, coming months. So you're going to see, like, I may not go live. Sami might pop, and she may go live and decide. But I want to bring those characteristics, and I want to bring more, because you can't master everything. Right. You just can't. There's just too much. And my brain can't even fathom half of what she can do with the stars and stuff, okay? So
I know, she's wildin', man. I'm like, I know about animals and angels. She's like, I know about the galaxies. And I'm like, okay, that sounds crazy. I'm into it, though.
Just watching those two is just incredible. Even if you're not, like, doing anything, just watching them work is just like, there's a blue alien.
We're a wild ride, man.
One other subject before I let you go. Did you want to talk about the healing circles that you guys put on that's outside of Finding Your Path?
Yep. So I think it's called B-Town.
It is B-Town.
B-Town Healing. Yep, it's called Healing Circle Dash B-Town Landing Pad. If you guys want to jump into that, you absolutely can. That is healing circles around Indiana. So we do it a lot of times in Bloomington, but we've also done it in Carthage. I know that both of the Bridgets have talked about hosting it in other places. We're trying to start hosting them in a variety of different metaphysical shops too. So that is usually free, or if we do it in a metaphysical shop, sometimes they want to charge like $5 or $10 for it. But those are usually free. Those are community spaces. Everyone just brings like a snack or something, and then we all just like hang out and do healing circles. So please feel free to attend those. Everyone is invited to those. And if you just join the group, then we post every month where it's going to be and what times and all of that. So
I cannot wait for next month. I'm so excited.
It's happening.
So excited. I had another topic, and now it escaped me.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I'll revisit later.
Yeah.
But I really want to thank you for taking your time today and coming and explaining what you are and what you bring. And that's what it was. Even if you're not local to Indiana, Sami and Allison have connections throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're in the UK and you need someone, she has friends out there that can help you. So don't think you have to be just from Indiana, because there's a lot of stuff that she does online as well that can be reached from you guys to you guys.
And we travel a lot too. So we're in Virginia a lot. We're going to New York this year. We talked about going to Canada this year. I think it's going to be more like not the Grand Canyon, the big waterfall. Oh my gosh, what is it called?
The falls. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Niagara.
Thank you. I was like, that must not be its true name, because neither of us can think of its name. So Niagara Falls, I think it's going to be more there. So we go to Shasta, we go to everywhere. So if you have someone or need someone, we are a global company. So we do have readers, healers, and connections everywhere. So just be like, hi, I'm actually in Ohio, or hi, I'm in Michigan. I can send you, Sarah Gibbs Provenger's way. So you just let me know where you are, and I can hook you into a community somewhere too.
Yes, yeah. I knew good points. I wanted to make that because the group is everywhere, but so we got you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you so much for going live with explaining everything. And everyone, I hope to see you at Find Your Path. Give some love to Sami's post when you see it. And we're just here for anything you guys need.
Woohoo. Catch you later. Bye.